This is Mike and Adam with Fourth and Whatever, episode 2. So to give you a little idea today, we got a few topics we're going to be talking about as far as depth at receivers and things like that. Kind of getting into the season, QB battle, things like that. If you want to stick around and listen to that today, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this the first time, unless you hated us. And then, hey, I always say you got to give something at least two or three times, right?
Yeah.
Don't like the first time, you got to go back and eat the second time. So you got to give us a second chance here on it. But
Oh yeah.
but yeah, don't forget, just like and subscribe if you want to keep getting the content there for us. And we'll just kind of dive in today. I think we're going to go right into talking about receivers and depth at receiver and kind of what we feel about that going into the season. I know we lost some people with Brew McCoy and Dante Thornton graduating, Squirrel White transferring to Florida State. Still interesting decision there to me. I don't know all the behind the scenes on that, but
I
Florida
know,
State
man.
just didn't seem to be the school you want to go to. But kind of leading into that, man. I mean, we did lose quite a bit at receiver, but I don't. Brew McCoy was he was kind of the heart of that. I feel like everybody loved Brew McCoy. I feel like he did a lot of the dirty work as far as blocking, getting downfield and stuff. And then he was still just a good veteran receiver to have there. And then I think Adam, we kind of touched on this a bit, and I was talking about like with Thornton. I don't feel like he ever really panned out, to be what we thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
And with Squirrel White, Squirrel White's super fast, man. He's obviously had that speed and stuff and ability to get out there, but it just to me he never really did a lot either.
Yeah.
Kind of ended up on the ground more than anything. I felt like, and I'm not
Yeah.
not hating on the guy. Just I don't know how much it's going to hurt us, but I don't know about as much about the receivers coming in. I mean, what do you think on that? Like with the receivers and the depth we got.
Yeah. So going back to who we lost and everything, Brew McCoy is obviously the biggest loss. We just
Yeah,
talked about that. Brew McCoy leaving. I mean, he was kind of like the heart and soul of the offense. I feel like definitely probably the leader of the offense, maybe even the whole team. We don't really know that inside the locker room dynamic, but just being a big time veteran, huge body, like you said, getting in there doing the dirty work, the stuff that doesn't make the statistical sheet, right? I mean,
right.
blocking, off the ball type stuff. But yeah, so I'm gonna be looking off the screen here, looking at some notes that we have. So we got Brew McCoy obviously left, Dante Thornton. You touched on that. Never really became what we wanted him to be. And you said Squirrel White. Like you said, super fast. It seemed like him playing with Joe Milton, man, kind of got the ball overthrown to him a little bit. Never really got that connection. They did connect. There was some times where there were some big time plays down the field just because of his speed alone. I don't think that he was like a super dynamic player by any means. It was just that straight line speed. And it's funny, man. The year that Florida State had, bro, like, why?
Dude,
Let's talk
I'm
about
sure
that for a
I'm
second.
sure NIL has absolutely nothing to do with it. I could, that was seriously, I couldn't imagine any other reason, man. To be honest with you, because I don't even
Yeah,
know that. Not that I think Florida State would be better this year, just because it's Florida State. I don't think they're going to have many 2 win
yeah,
seasons. That's unusual, but at the same time, I don't know what it's going to be like. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
quarterback situation, anything we don't know how they're going to be on that side of the ball, and so just an
yeah.
interesting choice. I feel like there'd have been a lot of places that would have still probably taken Squirrel Rock a lot. Maybe not as
hmm
many big time universities. So maybe Florida State's still considered one of those big time universities that wanted him. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I think, like you said, NIL probably the number one over and above all reason why he
Yeah,
left. I want to say, and I could be wrong about this. We may have to fact check this and come back to it on a different episode. But I think the decision to leave Tennessee by Squirrel White came before the Nico news, right? Actually, that's like
yeah,
100% correct, right?
yeah. I think he definitely did on that.
So I
Um,
wonder, and this is conspiracy type stuff, bro. Like this, like this is like making something out of nothing entirely. I wonder if Squirrel might have seen the writing on the wall and just kind of was like, okay, Nico's probably not going to be here. Whereas all of us got blindsided
Yeah,
by it. I wonder if he was just like, I'm out. Like, this
yeah,
is not going to be the team next year that it is this year or could be next, you
right.
know?
Obviously, he's probably gonna have more. I mean, I think you could be honest something. He's gonna have more insight than we're gonna have, right? Especially as regular fans, like being a little
Yeah.
bit blindsided by all that. You're seeing all the locker room stuff, locker room talk, different things going on.
Hmm.
So maybe he did see that, and in the lack of production maybe last year that he could have had, because I think he still
Yeah.
had a better year with Joe when Joe Milton was the quarterback the year
Yeah, he
before.
did.
They were probably having a better year, and then maybe he, I don't know, sensing that combo with that maybe last year and thought, and like I said, I'm sure some NIL money thrown
Yep.
in, like here's a chance to go a fresh start potentially.
Yep.
But at the
I think
same
he was
time,
in, I think he was injury ridden too this year, right? I mean, I think he
yeah,
suffered I think something with his shoulder might have even bothered him all year. Like I don't think he was ever 100% during the season, if I remember correctly.
yeah, no, I think you're right there. And so it could be a combo of those things, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, just and even then, there has, in my opinion, I still think there's got to be some NIL money incentive or something to go to Florida
Oh,
State.
dude,
Dude,
100%.
Florida State might not be a bowl contender again this year. I mean,
Yep.
it may turn around. I know that oddly enough, they were supposed to have still a really good defense and probably did. Just once you get the wind sucked out of your sails like that early in the
Yep.
season, they kind of just were flat for the rest of the year. But
Yep.
then again, I mean, as terrible as their offense was, the defense, what do you do? So
Yeah. Yeah. There's not much you can do at that point.
maybe if they
There's
could
a
build a little bit there, they'd be a little better.
Yeah. There's a couple other names that I'd like to mention that we lost. A couple guys that I was kind of interested in seeing play a little bit more, um, kind of take that next step as a wide receiver one or two, just
Yeah,
a full-time starter. And that would be Caleb Webb and Chaz Nimrod. I'd just like to throw their names out there as well.
yeah,
I think Caleb went to Maryland and Chaz Nimrod went to South Florida. So there's
okay,
that.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, Kind of moving forward to some of the guys that we are going to have this year. You're looking at, of course, Mike Matthews. He's like the big time guy that everyone's excited about around Tennessee.
yeah,
Young guy, hopefully, kind of start coming into his own now, especially with, Brew gone, Squirrel gone, all those guys gone, Dante Thornton gone. I think those guys kind of overshadowed him because he's just such a young player. I think that maybe this year is when we get to see Mike Matthews kind of go into the next level. Couple other guys, not really going to go over them too much because we don't, you and I are obvious we're not too familiar with them just yet. No one is really. But we got Chris Brazel, he's coming back, and then you mentioned it earlier before we got on the pod and started recording, the transfer from Alabama,
yeah,
um, Amari Jefferson.
yeah,
Sounds like a superstar name. What
yeah.
are what do you think? I mean, we don't know much
Yeah.
about him, him being a Bama guy, but what do you hope to see him do? Hope
Yeah,
to contribute?
along with the other two you just kind of mentioned there, and the obvious excitement around them stepping up and everything, because they're going to go from a role that could be a little bit overshadowed to really having to step in there and probably be like top receiver, number one, number two, and but yeah, with the transfer from, I mean, you hear transfer from Bama, and that automatically kind of makes people think, oh, this could be like a player, but no, I think it could be an exciting player because he is so young. You don't know where the potential is there with that, right? So,
Yeah,
um, and right now, got we're a little low in kind of the depth on receivers. So I think anybody like that is going to spark some attention and hopefully, I mean, he's going to have opportunity too, to get the reps out there,
yeah,
especially with a hyper-lit offense. There's going to be passing. He's going to want to, as long as the quarterbacks can get it there, and that's kind of. I know we'll talk a little bit about the quarterbacks here, but whether it's Joey or whoever it's going to be, um, I think that'll all kind of make that break that too. But those receivers are going to have the opportunity for sure this year. I think because we're not going to have
yeah.
Dylan Simpson to lean on it to run the ball like we did last year. So
Right. Yeah. Speaking of this Amari Jefferson guy, I wonder. Because obviously, I think we mentioned it in the first episode. We're not professionals. We're not going to come to you at like ESPN with all the
No,
statistics
no,
and
no.
the. But I do wonder, and we'll have to check on this and bring it up later on. I wonder what he was coming out of high school. Was he a 4-star guy, 5-star guy? I mean, coming from Bama, I would almost bet money that he was either a 4 or 5-star guy.
And you would think, yeah,
I
yeah, at
mean,
least three. We obviously got to look that up. I don't know,
yeah,
but just basing it off of that, yeah. I mean, Bama's got so many that roll in for that, But
yeah.
I would imagine at least 3-star, but probably that 4-star range something. But um, so definitely, and if he is, we got to look that up. That's going to be even more exciting. So maybe I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
y'all probably already know, but yeah, that'd be something we need to look into for sure. But I would say you have to be right about that
yeah.
for
I
sure.
think you made the best point of this entire segment so far. Wide receivers have the biggest opportunity to become stars in this Heupel offense, man. You
Absolutely,
know, I mean, as long as you've got a quarterback that can put it there, put it,
yeah,
close to the vicinity. We don't need a quarterback that's slinging the
yeah,
ball 40, 50 yards past the receiver.
exactly, yeah,
But I mean, just to hopefully see some of these guys, man, see what they're made out of. And, we're just speculating right now, obviously. Cannot wait to see these guys,
yeah,
this season for sure.
yeah. And before Heupel, that wasn't the case, but I think so definitely
Oh
now.
gosh, man.
But
Two or three guys before Heupel. I mean, just pitiful.
yeah,
And I'm sure we'll have episodes on that, man, because we've got quite
for
a bit of
sure,
time till the season starts, so we'll have a lot of content.
absolutely, man. I'll tell you, like with all the the young roster, it kind of makes you think like who's going to step up to be like
Hmm.
that leader this year.
Yeah,
Um, it kind of sounds cliche. I think it honestly, I think it's heavily going to ride on quarterback. I know quarterback is like that leader role, so it's easy to say the quarterback, but I think truly young offense, as young as it is, whoever is the starting QB
yeah.
has to be the leader and has to establish that early on. And like there's going to be some pressure there, but I think in my opinion, it's got to be the quarterback this year.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
obviously, guys need to step up, but yeah,
yeah.
help that
No,
out.
you're exactly right, dude. I mean, I agree with you 1000%. Yeah, you're right. It is cliche. But the thing about it is, man, the quarterback on every single team, whether he wants to be or not, is
Yeah,
is the leader. I mean, everyone's looking to him.
yeah. And
The,
I
the
don't feel like
only
Nico had that established last year, honestly.
No,
And maybe that's a hot take. I don't know, but I felt like Dylan Sampson was the leader of that offense and the leader of that team, and guys like Brew McCoy, stuff like that. I just defensive side of the ball too. You had some heavy on defense. We had a great defense last year, so I just don't think Nico had that established.
yeah.
Or it didn't feel that way, anyways.
No,
So
you're right, man. It could have been his age. It could have been the stage and the lights were
yeah,
too bright. I think there's times last year where you saw the lack of leadership because the
yeah,
stage was set too high, I think. I mean,
yeah,
you think about the Ohio State game, his performance in that. You think about the way he kind of choked under pressure against Arkansas, I believe it
yeah,
was.
yeah. I think you're right.
You could just see the lack of confidence, the lack of leadership skill, the lack of reps, I guess you could say, experience.
Right now,
But
Arkansas game. Speaking of that, he had that. It was like that Joe Milton 2.0 when last of the game running out of bounds with no time on the clock, dude. Both
man,
of those just drives me nuts, dude. Like,
gosh,
I
bonehead
mean, I
move,
couldn't have
dude.
been aware of the time at that point, but you got to be.
There's no way.
You got to be, man.
I mean, worst comes to worst. I mean, just let someone try to make a play.
Dude, if it's a pick six, it does not matter.
Right, right,
I mean, if you're
right.
tied, maybe there's nothing there. You don't want to force something. Just go to overtime, or if you got a shot, try to maybe take it. But you're losing, dude. You're gonna lose if you don't make that play. So I don't know.
So frustrating to watch, man. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm in 100% agreement with you on that. The quarterback has to be the leader. You're going to have other guys that step up. I think.
Yeah,
There's always going to be a guy on the offensive line. I think that's kind of leading that pack. It's weird in football. I think each position group kind of has their own little leader.
they do. Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But I think ultimately the quarterback, that's the guy with the hands,
yeah,
the ball in his hands every play, on offense at least.
right.
So yeah, I think you're right. And kind of to touch on that, we're asking who's going to step up, what position is going to step up, all that good stuff. You know, I think leadership over and above all is one of the most, if not the most important thing on a team, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
how important, like maybe even some of your own experiences. I know you played sports, I played sports. How important is it for a team to have that one guy that's always just kind of picking everyone up, kind of being positive, maybe giving the hype speech before you walk out or something like that? I mean,
Oh,
what are
for
your thoughts
sure.
on that?
No, you definitely. I mean, I did. I played. I didn't play football like my senior year and stuff. And then I played sports kind of throughout. But
Mm,
um, dude, even with just that little experience of that, there is that guy. There's got to be someone who's like in that moment when there's doubtful moments, things aren't going your way. They got to be able to
yeah.
shift that momentum. They got to go out there and be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And we're going to go out and do it. And you know, usually it's quarterback, but it's not always. Especially high school and stuff. You might have like other guys or your running back or someone like that. But someone's got to go out there. Whether, even on defense, man. So a lot of times on a strong defensive team, you've seen that defensive leadership.
Yeah.
People like Ray Lewis, people like that used to come out and give those hot speeches,
Oh
dude, get their
yeah.
team rolling, dude. I mean, you got to have a guy that does that. So, and it is a team sport, but someone has to be, and you may even have a couple guys in there that do that. With football, I mean, you got, like you said, you got your, you might have an offensive lineman getting his other lineman pumped up, so,
Hmm.
but there's definitely got to be that leadership, I think, throughout
Yeah.
the team, other than just obviously there's the coaches, right? But you've got to have that on the team, I think. The players,
Yeah.
somebody's got to step up as that, be like your captain, be your leader.
Yep.
So,
Those type of people have some sort of like switch inside of
yeah,
them. I think if you remember correctly, back when obviously last year Nico being the quarterback and everything, I remember listening to all the broadcast guys and they would be like, "Man, he just looks so calm. He just looks so collected. He just looks like nothing phases him, nothing rattles him." Um, and if you think about it like that, it's like, but there was never a point in time where he looked like he was putting his voice out there. You
yeah,
know, I don't really know how to say it, but if you think about big time players and leaders on football teams, basketball teams, etc., they're out there yelling, they're out there talking, they're out
yeah,
there like mid play, before the play starts, mid play, after the
yeah,
play. I don't think we ever really saw too much of that from Nico. Like
yeah,
he was just kind of head down, and
right,
maybe it wasn't confidence, maybe it wasn't he can't get rattled. He's as cool as the other side of the pillow.
yeah,
Maybe he just lacked that desire to even communicate with his
yeah,
teammates. Who knows? It's all speculation at this point. But
yeah. I mean, because you had guys in the past, like, not with Tennessee, but somebody I think of in particular that was probably a Plotter dude, but was just ice in his veins type dude was,
yeah,
Joe Burrow, dude,
oh
his
yeah,
senior at LSU. It's like nothing phases the guy,
mm-hmm.
and he kind of carried that over into the pros a little bit too, but it's not,
Mm,
doesn't seem to be very vocal, but man, it has all the confidence in the world. You can just tell.
yeah,
I don't know that was there, with
yep.
Nico, and so, no, I definitely get what you're saying.
Yeah, there's something about like your leaders are going to do stuff that doesn't even seem like they're leading in that moment. Like
Yeah,
it's something as simple as making a big play and like getting in the other team's face or something. Like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Just stuff
oh
like
yeah, for
that.
sure.
Even stuff like that will rally a team behind someone. A big
Yeah,
hit, a big time interception.
yeah,
That can boost
absolutely, man.
someone into a leadership role quickly too, man.
Absolutely. Speaking of the leadership stuff and like talking about that for Tennessee this year and how the QB is going to have to do it, who's
Yep.
it going to be, man? Who's it
I
going to
know,
be? Who's
right?
going to be the guy for Tennessee? Who's going to win that
Uh,
QB battle?
yeah, yeah. So obviously, we don't really have much to go off of at this point in the season.
Yeah,
We know that Joey's coming in as a senior.
yeah,
The other two guys are what are they? Freshmen, redshirt freshmen. I
yeah,
think one of them might be a sophomore or a redshirt sophomore.
yeah.
But you can't really compare them, dude. This topic and this argument, I just don't see
Early.
how. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's early, but I don't see how it can't be Joey. I think he was brought in to be the starter.
I think, yeah, I was going to kind of go along with you on that. I don't think he transfers to Tennessee
Why
unless
not?
he pretty much knows, right?
Why not?
Like, I mean, he had transferred to UCLA, and obviously Tennessee needed a quarterback. Still going to be a bigger university than App State, but so maybe that was part of it too. But I feel like there had to be some confidence thinking
Yeah.
I will start at this school, and
Yep.
and I do think he's going to be the starter.
Yep.
You know, I'm not. Who knows how it ends up panning out or how he plays through the year. Now, if he comes in and it's just not working, and
Hmm.
Jake, one of the guys, start looking real good in practice and comes out and maybe plays a little bit in a game, you
Yep.
might see that switch then. But I think you're right. I think Joey's going to be the dude who's going to be
Hmm.
behind the center starting day one
Yep.
or game one, and just has that. He's got the first opportunity right there to be the guy that's gonna step up, and he has the experience, still of playing
Yeah.
college football. So that is one thing I think he'll have a leg up on being a senior, being there, in that football world a little bit longer, in the
Hmm.
college world there. So I think there could be some potential, but I think he's definitely going to be the leader.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I mean, the fact that he is a senior in the quarterback position, I think, like you just said, I think that automatically puts him in the position to be
Yeah.
the leader.
And
And
so many young guys too, man.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And that just adds to the pressure. I mean, you think about it, he played at App State, which last episode we kind of went over some of his stats and all that, and they
yeah,
were actually really good stats. But you think about him coming from App State, smaller school, not as big as not a big of a fan base as Tennessee.
yeah,
Not doesn't get that national spotlight like Tennessee and the SEC schools do.
yeah.
So he goes to UCLA, doesn't play there, but now he's at Tennessee. You've already got the pressure of that in
Right,
itself. You've got the
right.
pressure of coming in after Nico. So all year long, I can hear it now. I mean, it's going to happen. They're going to talk about Nico next year. I mean, it's just inevitable, even though he's not on our team anymore. So he's going
Yeah,
to have that to deal with. He's going to be the
yeah,
new guy. He's going to be the new guy in town. And he's the senior, like you said. I mean,
yeah,
he's going to instantly be looked at as, okay, you're our quarterback. You're the senior. You've got to be the leader. Let's go with this thing.
yeah.
Um, so the other two guys, of course, George MacIntyre and Jake Merklinger, we have no clue really. I mean, I've seen highlight tapes and stuff like that from when they were in high school. Seen some videos here and there on YouTube about, maybe them in like practice and stuff like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
The only thing that I hope doesn't happen, and who knows? I mean, it could not, but I really hope it doesn't. We do have, um, we do have another quarterback that's in the class of 2025 or six, so he'll be joining the team probably next year or something like that. But we can talk about all that later. I hope that they don't put so much stock in that guy and the fact that they brought Joey in to be most likely the starter this year. I hope either George or Jake. I
Yeah,
hope one of them doesn't just leave and think, well, I'm never going to get an opportunity here.
yeah, yeah.
Because you know what I mean? And that's just speculation. That could happen, could not happen. I just hope that something like that doesn't
In this world of college football, it's a fair point. That could definitely happen.
Yeah, man.
Everybody's hopping around everywhere, so yeah, for sure, um, it definitely could happen. It'd
It
be
just doesn't it just doesn't seem like we're ever going to have the opportunity again to see a true freshman be put in a situation where he has to be the guy.
yeah,
He is all we've got. This has to be the guy. This has to work out and just play his whole career there. I mean,
yeah.
I just don't think we're ever going to see it again. I mean,
I don't think so, man. If Arch Manning didn't do it at Texas, it ain't
right.
happening.
He was our only hope.
he had to wait, which is going to probably benefit him, but still, yeah, I get
Hey,
what you're saying.
but kudos to him for not leaving, dude.
You do have to give him all the credit there, man, for that, and I think he's gonna get a little bit of play time. I think Arch Manning might be dangerous. Texas is
Yep.
gonna be a dangerous team this year.
Because once Quinn Ewers said I'm coming back,
Yeah,
I don't
a lot of
think
guys would
very
have went,
many.
man.
Yep,
Yeah,
they would have. They would.
Right.
Much respect to another Manning besides Peyton.
If he wanted to come to Tennessee, he could, but it's okay. Sorry for him.
Heck yeah, man.
But kind of getting into this year, man. And I guess this could be a question that could go for any year. But what is your favorite rivalry game going into the
Oh, man.
year? And I know that can change maybe over time, but if you had to pick one right off, that's just your favorite.
I don't think it's a question, man. I got to go Florida.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's obvious. It's the obvious answer for any Tennessee fan. But it's funny because if you ask Tennessee fans of a certain generation, they may tell you Alabama, they may tell you
yeah,
Kentucky, they may tell you whatever. Florida, dude, there's something about when we play Florida.
yeah.
They can have the worst team in the SEC. We could have
Always,
the best team, and you just have no clue what's going to happen, man.
yeah,
There's legit hatred between the
yeah,
two fan bases.
yeah. And dude, before you know to even say it, we didn't talk about this before. This same Florida was always that game.
Okay.
I will say the last couple of years, Bama's been enjoyable though.
Oh yeah,
Got a couple wins
100%.
finally, so cause it's hard to say a rivalry before because we just didn't. I'll be honest, we just hadn't been winning. So when you go
Yeah,
so long, even I know we haven't really with Florida a lot either, but Bama had just went so long, so it was kind of
yeah,
like. But last few years, it's up there. One of my favorite games this season too. So Kentucky always gives us a tough time, but let's face it,
yeah.
dude. And this will be Kentucky fans are going to hate me for this, but I'm 35 and I've watched them beat Tennessee maybe 4 times in my entire life, and they play every year. Once was in Neyland, by the way, just once in
I got
35
you.
years that I've
I
been
got you.
alive. So I'm not
That's a
going to
heck
call
of a
that a
streak.
rivalry.
Yeah.
Maybe for them.
So yeah. So like that's like the historical rivalry. I feel like is definitely Alabama.
Yeah,
Like you said, man, the past few years, dude, where we've been a little more competitive with them, beat them a couple times.
knotted that up a little bit.
Oh yeah, dude, it's felt great.
Yeah.
Um, but you did say Florida as well, right? Ultimately,
Yeah, yeah.
overall.
Ultimately, I would have to go with Florida. It's always been the game that
Yeah,
I just want to
there's
win so bad, man. Even still, I just hate losing to them. So,
there's something about that week, man, because it just feels different, you know. I mean,
yeah,
like I said a second ago, dude, there is legit pure hatred between the fan bases. I mean, any fan that because I mean, we all know some Florida fans, right? I mean, you've got
right.
people that I'm sure that you know that are Florida fans. I mean, really, no other team kind of picks at each other and talks crap about each other the way that those two fan bases do, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right, man. Absolutely. I mean, it's how it's been. I think it's how it's going to continue to be. Florida, I
Yep.
love your state. Beautiful beaches, the great state. Adam's going to be there next week.
Yes, I am.
But just don't like the Gators.
Man, man,
So,
me either, dude. And I'm hoping we still haven't been able to get over that hump at their place.
yeah,
You know,
no, you're right.
we've got them at home the past couple times they've played us at home, but every time we go down to the swamp, dude, they get us.
Yeah,
And I think if the type of team that Florida has this year, I think if what they did at the end of last year is any indication of their team this year,
yeah.
we could be in some trouble down there, man. I really do believe that.
You can always do a whatever topic.
Hmm.
So, and I think today we're going to go with what is something you always wanted to learn how to do, but you never did actually do it. But something you've always wanted to do. I'm gonna let you go first on that.
Yeah, man. On this topic right here, dude, I gave it a little bit of thought actually. But there was one thing that really just kind of jumped out at me, and it's something that I've attempted to do at least 3 times in my life, never conquered it,
Okay.
and always ended up giving up on it, and that is learning to play the guitar.
Nice.
I
Nice.
think that I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I think a lot of people at some point in their life kind of go through that spell where they would love to learn an instrument, and it seems like most of the time it's the guitar. how many random people have you ever met where they just have a guitar but they don't play the guitar?
Oh yeah, bro. I've
It-
literally got one in my basement right now. I can play some chords and I can play some patterns, but
yeah.
it's as far as I've really got. So that's not going to be mine, but it is up there on my list. But
Yeah, dude, I've always I love music. I've always loved music. Classic, huge classic rock fan.
yeah,
And just hearing the way that those guys play and watching people play, and just watching them make it look so effortless, dude. It
yeah,
just made me want to play, and I feel like it's one of those things where you got to kind of start young. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I mean, I'm sure you could pick it up as an adult as well, but I'm sure it just comes much more natural to someone if they start young and learn it. But that's mine, man. I
for
think it
sure,
would be incredible to just go over and pick up a guitar and just start, not necessarily shredding. I mean, that would be cool too, but just even playing just beautiful music with it. Just any, name a song. Okay, I got you. And just
yeah,
jam
yeah,
it out, That'd be a really good feeling.
for sure, man. No, that's like I said, that's all up there on mine. But you are totally right. I've got one that just sits there.
I've got
Mine,
two.
kind of. I guess it could kind of go along with Florida and those beaches. Dude, mine's surfing. Even though
Oh,
the shark
yeah.
thing out there would kind of freak me out, being
Uh-huh.
out of the water. But I actually, you might not know this. I snowboard during the wintertime. Like I'm big into snowboarding. I've
Okay. Yeah.
done it for a long time, and I enjoy it a lot. But surfing's something I never actually tried. So that's always something I've kind of wanted to try. I've heard, I mean, obviously some balance and stuff is there with knowing how to snowboard, but they're totally different. So it would
Hmm.
be interesting to see how much more challenging it is. It's something a totally different sport than snowboarding. So,
Yeah.
uh, but like where I like to be on the board, stuff like that, I've always wanted to try it, but
So you've never even tried it?
no, I've never actually even tried it. I've wake surfed and like on the lake, and um, I did
Like
try
get, like getting
wakeboarding
pulled.
once too, and that was a lot of fun. So,
Is
and I
that
did,
where you get pulled behind a boat?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And with wake surfing, I got to where I was able to throw the rope back on the boat for like 30 seconds or so. So I feel like it was
Nice.
fun. I got on there a little bit, but I haven't done it a lot. But I would definitely like to try regular surfing too. So
Yeah.
it's one thing, man.
You know what? Obviously, we live on the East Coast. I don't. Surfing's pretty much like a West Coast, more of a West Coast thing. I'm not gonna say pretty much, but
Yeah.
they get like
Yeah,
bigger
there's not like
waves
a
and stuff
lot,
over there, don't they?
right? Yeah, there's not. I don't think there's a lot of stuff now on the east side. I mean, as a beginner, there's probably some like
True.
maybe on the east coast there might be some places to go that. I think the West Coast got some legit stuff that you wouldn't be doing if you if you were a beginner. But get out there and be fighting for my life in the ocean. But but yeah, definitely.
It might be a
I'd
good way
probably
to
start
learn,
on
man.
like the little like small little wave pool or something.
Yeah.
Whatever the kiddie section would be. That's where you could start me. But
I was just giving you a board and throwing you to the wolves, man.
yeah, he's like, are just send him on out to Hawaii and he can get out there with those, where the biggest waves we got. I
Yeah,
mean, I
man.
guess it's in Hawaii. I really don't know, but
It sounds right.
I think it is. We'd have to look that up, but I'm pretty
I'd be
sure.
like, I'll be like, man, he's good. He snowboards. He's fine.
Yeah,
He's got it.
yeah, same thing.
He actually surfs with a snowboard.
Yeah, exactly. I use a, I use a surfboard while I'm on the mountain, dude.
Boots and all.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all
Oh,
can let us know too out there. Where's the best places to surf at
yeah,
for
yeah,
beginners?
yeah.
If
We're from East.
anybody
We're
out
from
there
East
knows,
Tennessee, bro. We have no clue about this type of
no,
stuff.
I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's kind of
Oh,
gonna. I think we're gonna probably wrap this up, I guess, for episode
yeah,
2. Man, what an episode! If you guys, just like I said in the beginning, make sure to subscribe to us if you want to see some of the future content because they're going to be posting pretty regularly and getting ready for football season and just general stuff. I mean, we might be talking about. We might have an episode about surfing, dude, and
yeah.
how
Never know.
how much it's alike or not alike snowboarding. I'm sure like anybody that surfs is going to watch this and be like, "That's the worst take I've ever seen on surfing
Yeah.
in my life."
Freaking
But
idiots.
yeah, but yeah, if you just want to hear us be idiots more, just make sure to
Yeah,
like and subscribe.
we're good. We're good at that, man.
Yeah, sure, man. But dude, as always, been fun, man. And Adam, I'll see you, man.
All right, brother. See you later.